special Christmas edition of High Spirits with Edwin Courtenay. I'm very, very glad that I've found an opportunity before we head into our Christmas holidays to bring forward a little bit of Christmas magic and spiritual sparkle to all of my lovely listeners, and hopefully provide you with some inspirational practices centered around the Christmas holidays which are almost upon us. So Christmas time is a time which is full of different rituals and practices connected to all sorts of different religions, from the pagan to the Christian. And I wanted to share with you four of my most favourite rituals that I tend to do every year, nice and simple rituals that hopefully you can find some time to practice as well, which will keep your hand in spiritually, but also enable you to set up some pathways of energy for the new year and to give a little back to the world around you, spiritually speaking, too. So I want to start with Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve is a very magical time. It's not as fraught as Christmas Day. There's a bit of a pause of breath before you launch yourself into the festivities full on. And there's that wonderful, magical, liminal space of it not quite being Christmas, but not quite being the old year. And that magic is kind of palpable in the air. From a Christian perspective, Christmas Eve is the day in which Mary and Joseph, with their unborn child, were trying to find somewhere to take refuge on their way to the census. And it's the day when they ended up finding the manger and settled down for the night. And it's, of course, the place where Mary gives birth to the baby Jesus, and the miracle of the Star of Bethlehem occurs, and the wise men come, and the shepherds come, etc., etc., etc. So during this time, on a magical Christian level, we are encouraged to think about Mary and Joseph lost in the wilderness. They are searching for somewhere to stay. They can't find anywhere to stay. And they're a little bit lost, and they're a little bit lonely, and they're wandering until finally they find the manger. So on this day, traditionally, I would light a candle and place it on the windowsill, nice and safe. So make sure that there's no net curtains or low-hanging tinsel that's going to catch fire. You can use a little tea light in a nice, safe, contained tea light holder. You could even, if you wanted to, use one of these fake little tea lights these days, these LED ones. You light the candle, you stare out into the winter darkness, and you think about Mary and Joseph lost in the wilderness. And then you think about all those other people now, in this moment, who are lost in the wilderness too. Whether they are lost mentally or emotionally or physically in regards to their wellness, whether they are homeless, whether they are adopted or fostered, whether they are simply on their own without a community to turn to for love and support. And you send the light of the candle out to those people in the name of and in honor of Joseph and Mary and the baby Jesus. So you catch their energy into the sending so that it magnifies the power of your intent. And you cast that light out into those wandering people, those lost people, so that they might find some inspiration, some hope, some love, some Christmas cheer, and also find their way through the darkness. It's one of my absolute favourite Christmas rituals to do. I absolutely adore it, and I think it's really powerful and very much something which is in need at Christmas time. The second ritual, which is on Christmas Day itself, is something that we're going to do right at the end of this episode together. It focuses on the reverberation of the powerful event of Christmas Day, of the birth of the baby Jesus, the Master who will grow up to be the channel, the conduit, and the vessel for the Christos, the masculine Christ energy. That event, like many other events that went before it and have come after it, was so powerful, spiritually speaking, that it created a wave of energy that moved backwards and forwards in time. And we can connect with that wave of energy and link back in to the power of that moment. I think these days some people like to think of these things as timelines. So we can link into the timeline of that moment, and we can ride on the wave of that powerful positive light and energy. We can hijack its frequency and power, if you will. It's the moment of the Christ force anchoring on earth through the Master Jesus, and it's that explosion of hope that is birthed out into the world, that changes the world forever. So we think of that moment, we tune into it, we move into a state of resonance with it, and we bring it into ourselves, that wave of power. We draw more through that wave of power, through our intent, by holding our focus on that very special, powerful moment. And we cast that light out into this present Christmas Day so that we are anchoring more of that energy into the world. The Christ energy being, of course, the cosmic ascended Master Maitreya, who is a bridge between mankind and the divine, all divine, not just Christian divine. So helping us all here on earth move into a greater state of alignment with the power of the source. So we'll do that together right at the end of the episode. My other two mini little rituals are for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. New Year's Eve is a time, once again, a liminal moment where we're not quite in the old year, not quite in the new year. It's a powerful moment, and it's really powerful for letting things go, letting go of those things that you don't want to carry with you into the new year. People, unfortunately, places, situations, memories, illnesses, anything at all that you want to leave behind, that you want to tie cut from, that you want to lay to rest, that you want to transmute and free yourself from. So on New Year's Eve, you write yourself a long list of all the things that you want to let go of. You take your time, refine it a little. It doesn't matter how long it is or how small it is. And just before the strike of midnight, if you can, dash away to do it. If you're not in a party situation, you burn the list. I would either suggest burning it in an open fire, if you have one, or in your kitchen sink, which is usually made out of aluminium, which is nice and safe to burn things, or in a plant pot outside in the garden, if you can nip out really quickly into the shed, just somewhere nice and safe where it's not going to set off the smoke alarm and not going to set fire to your Christmas decorations. And as it burns away, you hold the intent that you are releasing those things, that you're letting go of them, that you are disentangling from them, that you are tie-cutting from them, that you are transmuting them in the flame. It's a really powerful psychological thing to do, but there is magic behind it as well. And it can have an incredible effect upon your holistic being, doing that little ritual of release. And it's very powerful to do it on this day, on New Year's Eve. It doesn't have to be just before midnight. If you can't fit it in, then do it earlier on in the day. Somewhere during the day is important. But, if you want to pick the optimum moment, then just before the clock strikes midnight. And then on the next day, on New Year's Day, the first day of a brand new year, the quantum path is clear, the slate is clear, and it's the perfect time for impressing upon the universe how you want your year to unfold. So we do a bit of quantum seeding. I would encourage you to get an apple, slice it open, get all the seeds out, count them up, and look at the numerological meaning of those online, because they might give you a little hint about what the universe has got in store for you in the new year. You can also look in my book, Ascensions to Go Away. It lists my Ascension numerology list. And then take the seeds, get a pot with some soil in, and one by one, plant the seeds in the pot. But before you put them in, take a moment to think of what you want the year ahead to be like, and try and infuse the seed with that intent, knowing that the seed is a symbol for the quantum seed that you're planting in the universal field. So hold the seed, think about what you want, pop it in the plant pot, and think about how you want the year to unfold. Peaceful, busy, harmonious? Do you want it to be exciting? Do you want it to be filled with health? Do you want to be filled with energy? Do you want a new home? Do you want a new job? Think about the things that you want the universe to line up for. You're telling the universe what you are expecting of it. It wants to know, it needs to know in order to manifest these things for you. So you're telling the universe what you're expecting of it, and each seed planted represents one of the quantum seeds planted in the quantum universe. And then it's not a bad idea to try and keep the seedlings going, to water them and keep them indoors during the winter and see if you can get them to sprout. Don't worry if they don't, because they are just a symbolic representation of the seeds that you've sown in the quantum universe. So before you do that little ritual, you might just want to have a think about exactly what you want to set up for yourself in the year that lies ahead. So in a moment, we're going to do our little ritual together, our little Christmas Day ritual, this one about seizing the wave of energy that reverberates from the moment in which the Christ energy anchored through the Master Jesus on earth. But before we do that, I just want to say a few other things. Thank you very much for listening to these videos. They've been a bit of an experiment this year, to see if people would be interested in them, to see if I could keep the momentum of motivation going. I've quite enjoyed doing them, so we're hoping to do more next year. Once again, one a month, certainly for the first 6 months, and we'll see how the second 6 months goes, whether I want to do more, whether I want to do less. I'm very open for suggestions in regards to topics, so if there is anything that you'd like me to talk about in the future in these videos, please send me a message. By the messages below, or send me an email, edwincourtenay@gmail.com. I'd love to hear what your suggestions might be. Also, please do let other people know that this little YouTube channel exists, and if you've not done so already, please hit the subscribe button. And for all of those other people who've supported Andrew and I throughout the year, attending our Zoom lectures and courses and channeled evenings and workshops, thank you so much. We couldn't continue to do what we do without your patronage, and we really, really do appreciate it. And we hope to see you next year, and we hope to see lots of new faces next year too. Okay, let's do our little exercise. I'm just going to find some lovely music for us to listen to. Let's make sure I'm not going to deafen you all with that. Okay. So I want you to close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. Breathing in and out. And in and out. And in and out. Bring your attention to your heart center. If it helps, bring your hands over the heart. Imagine it in your mind's eye, this chakra of summer green, opening and expanding as you bring your attention to it. Open and expand your aura tomb out into the safety of your room, of your home. And try and become quiet and still, attuned to the energy around you. It's Christmas time. It's a powerful time of magic. Far away in the distance past, a child is being born. a child who will change the face of the earth forever. The child is a master waiting to grow. But more than this, the child is a channel. And even now, as the child emerges, a power greater than it, greater than all of us, is anchoring and connecting to its presence on earth. An ancient force of light, one of the three great original souls to be created by the divine, a light being presence, a bridge, created to connect mankind to the source of all life. The cosmic Christ, the Maitreya, connects to the child, anchors and aligns with it and through it, explodes its presence forth into the world. A brilliant, shining, shimmering explosion of spiritual light, echoed by a star that burns in the sky high above where the child is born, a physical manifestation of that occurs on the spiritual plane. A wave of force is released backwards and forwards in time, and part of that wave reaches you now as you hold your focus and attention on this moment. Feel it, that power, that presence. Connect with it. Feel it in your own heart. And let that power shine through you, out into this moment, out into this Christmas, out into this now. The promise of salvation and hope, of light and truth and peace, shining out into a world that is so in need of its brilliance and illumination and love. As the baby Jesus was the conduit for this energy then, be the conduit for this energy now. Let that light explode forth into the darkness through you. Anchor the promise of salvation for the planet this Christmas time. Let the last remnants of that light shine through you, carried out into the world through the grace of your presence and your intent. And breathe. Breathe in and out, and down through your legs and your feet into the earth, extending roots deep and wide to ground yourself. Feel the chair beneath you and the ground beneath you, and slowly and gently to the sound of my voice, return. 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 And in your own time when you're ready, open your eyes. The only thing that remains for me to say is have a very, very merry and joyous Christmas and Yule, and have a wonderful, prosperous, peaceful, harmonious, successful, healthy, and loving New Year. I will see you again sometime soon, hopefully in January 2025. In the meantime, I'm going to sign off for this year, wishing you lots of love and bright blessings. Take care from Andrew, I, and Bessie, and stay well.